So that shiny new game just came out, Remnant 2, and you want to know if it's worth your time, right? Well, let's take a look at the game for some first impressions. Right when you load up, you customize your character. There's a few options for each category, not a lot of customization though. After that, you select your difficulty. There's 4 options, but the Apocalypse difficulty seems to be locked for now. I selected the second option, Veteran difficulty. Right after that, there's a 3-minute or so cutscene at the beginning of the game. You're with a girl named Cass, and you're both trying to get to the ward. I took a look at the menu here at this point, and on the character screen, it seems each piece of clothing has an armor rating, as well as weight and resistances. If you click a slot, it will show you each type that you're holding currently, but since I just started, I have 0. Your current health and armor and resistances are on the left side. Moving to traits, it shows you can increase health, reduce skill cooldown, add more power generation, and increase stamina. I didn't have any trait points to spend at the beginning. Inventory shows your consumables, quest items, and materials. I have none to begin with. After walking a little ways, you find a blood root, which heals your ankle that you damaged during the cutscene at the beginning. It provides healing for 30 seconds, as you can see the countdown below the health and stamina bars on the bottom.
This is bad with a side of broccoli.
A side of what?
A little bit further on, and you find some strange growths inside a building. This is also where you fight your first monster, which I easily killed with 1 shot. As you keep going, you come to a cavern with those growths all over the place. Here a bunch of those monsters spawn, and they're easily dealt with. I literally 1-shot all of them, and then a cutscene happens, and I was stabbed right through the chest. Ouch. Right before you and Cass die, a man and a woman appear, saving you. She appears to have some sort of power, and she freezes all of the enemies mid-air. Not only that, the guy walks up and heals you with a touch.
It's okay. You're safe. Whoa, whoa, hold up. We're friends. We're here to help.
Can't hold this forever, Bo!
Thanks.
You 4 kill some more monsters until you come across a really big one, a root mantis. This thing has some extreme melee range and is incredibly fast. I found that dodging doesn't really dodge that well, and running away doesn't work because the monster is faster than you. Your only real option is to stand and fight while trying to minimize the damage. Then I died, or well, I went down, because it used a range attack that I had no idea it had. It hadn't used it up to that point yet. After the new guy picks me up, we end up killing the mantis and moving on. The new people take you to the ward, the place you were looking for. The place is actually called Ward 13. Here you find out that the woman's name is Clementine and the guy's name is Bo. Bo is the mayor of Ward 13. After talking to Bo a little bit, he tells you to talk to Ford. I walked around for a minute and talked to a few people first though, and I unlocked a trait point, so I used that. I selected Spirit, which increases mod power generation. At this point I had no idea what it does, but I like the sound of power. After finding Ford, I found out that he's Andrew Ford, the founder. He's literally hundreds of years old. You find out he was expecting your arrival because of someone named Wallace, who can see the future, sort of. Also, you find out that Clementine, the girl that saved you, is actually 132 years old. Apparently, there's a bunch of secrets and mystery going on here, and he wouldn't specify how either of them were still alive. He needs you to help him out. So after talking to him, you go to Wallace, and this is where you choose your class. There's a medic, the hunter, the challenger, the handler, and gunslinger. I opted for gunslinger here. My clothes immediately changed as well. In the character screen, I still had my older clothing though. After talking to Wallace, I came across a strange creature. He told me he's from another world and his name is Dwell. He sells crystals from his world that can be used for crafting. After talking to Dwell, I talked to Brabus. He gave me several new weapons. After Brabus was Riggs. Here you can upgrade your weapons. After Riggs was Ava. She can craft weapon mods, sell them, or you can sell items to her. Then I went to meet with Ford command to follow him wherever he was going. He activates some sort of metal cube and then a giant orange-red crystal starts floating. He tells you to go back and tell Bo to blow up the place to bury the crystal. Then immediately after he tells you that, he touches the crystal and disappears. Honestly a bit confusing. So he wanted me down there with him just to tell me to blow it up, then he disappears with no explanation. Then Clementine appears. I guess she was following us. The crystal grabs her and then she disappears. Where's everyone going? Then my character basically says screw it and then touched it himself.
Oh, this is so stupid.
After that, I'm transferred to somewhere else. There's another crystal here, though it's smaller. It's called a checkpoint, and by resting at it, ammo and relics respawn in the world, but so do all of the enemies. In multiplayer, all enemies must be using a checkpoint in order to rest, and also in multiplayer, resting will respawn your teammates. So at the checkpoint, you have a few options. Join a multiplayer game, return to Ward 13, and then I was able to view the map of the world I'm in. After backing out of the checkpoint menu, I began walking around until I encounter some creatures. While you can one-shot them if you shoot the right spot, I found these monsters to be harder to kill than at the beginning of the game. It took 2 to 3 shots, and they had ranged attacks as well. After killing those, a new and bigger type appeared. It took a lot of shots to kill this one. A little bit further, and I encountered those ranged monsters again, but this time there were a lot of them. I was getting hit non-stop. I tried to use a dragon heart to heal myself, which is something you got when you were with Andrew Ford, but I found out that trying to take a dragon heart slows your character down to a walk. At this point, I knew I would not be able to heal in time. Then I died. After dying, you spawn back at the checkpoint. I went back and managed to kill them this time, but I made sure to do it at a distance. After that, I explored around a little bit, killed more enemies, then came across this root nexus tree. There was a checkpoint next to it as well. So I began shooting it, and so many monsters start spawning. Little rolling monsters attack you. Those ranged monsters attack you as well, but they can also fight up close. I ran away a little bit, thinking I was safe, but then another one of those big ones spawned right behind me. I was unprepared for that. After dying, I spawned right next to the root nexus at the checkpoint. I kept trying over and over to defeat this, but I couldn't. There's also some sort of wraith monster that shoots a bow. That was a new annoyance to deal with. After dying a couple of times, I managed to damage the tree more than I did the previous times, but now a new monster spawned. It travels underground, then pops up and hits you. This thing was quick too. I tried to run, but it stabbed me right in the back. After failing miserably non-stop, I gave up. I was wondering if I chose the wrong difficulty. I decided to look around instead, and I found this portal door thing next. I was now in a new area. After walking forward, I encountered new enemies. They fly and have tentacles, it looks like. They're fairly easy to kill. After walking around killing lots of these things, I found a new creature. This one takes a lot of bullets and does a lot of melee damage if it gets close. Also, when I killed it, I didn't realize at the time, a tiny little monster comes out of it. I didn't kill it in time, and the whole thing respawned. I made sure to kill that little monster next time, so it didn't respawn. After all of that, I found another checkpoint and another doorway. This doorway brought me into some sort of boss fight, sort of like that root nexus I could not beat. This creature is named Shrewd Empathy and was insane. I couldn't beat this thing. I tried 3 times. It seems that if I want to defeat these difficult enemies, I'll need to either upgrade my gear or try playing online with other people. This game's graphics are pretty good and the gameplay is harder than I expected. I did not come into this game expecting the combat to be this challenging. I plan on upgrading my gear and trying again and again until I defeat these enemies. Overall, I like this game and plan to keep pushing on. Whether or not this is your type of game, I'll see you in the next one.